ضلالة في النار. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Subhanallah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in many places, and as we learn also, as one of the base of our faith, Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Indeed, with every difficulty, the ease will come right away after. This is what have been told to us all the time by our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He always told us that as long as you have faith, there is nothing to worry about. He told us also that if all mankind they gather to benefit someone with something that God did not prescribe for him, he will never get it. And if all mankind they gather to hurt somebody or harm someone with something which is not written in his destiny, definitely it will never happen. So when we're talking about good and bad, in most of the times, it is the way how we look at it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a different wisdom, which is we don't have. God sees the things completely differently. I remember the end of the story of Prophet Joseph, alayhi salam. May peace be with him. By the way, as the brothers over here, one time the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was asked, Man al-Kareem, who is the most noble? And this is what he said. He said, Al-Kareem, the most noble, he is the noble, the son of the noble, the son of the noble, the son of the noble. And actually he was referring to Joseph, because he was a prophet. Son of Jacob, Yaqub, because he was a prophet. Son of Ishaq, Isaac, because he was a prophet. Son of Abraham, because he was a prophet. This is the lineage of Joseph, Yusuf alayhi salam. So when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked about who is the most noble, he refers to this person that his lineage is so clean and pure that the father and grandfather and great-grandfather, all of them were the chosen people by Allah, by God subhanahu wa ta'ala. Joseph and Yusuf, as all of us we know the story, but I'm going all the way to the end. When all the things happened, Yusuf, this is what he said. Joseph, this is what he said. He said, it was something good that happened to me when the shaitan, the Satan, he plays his game between me and my brothers. But in the end, I came over here to Egypt, right? And then Allah, God, He brought you and my family also. Joseph, how he looked at it, he looked at it in a positive way. That whatever hardship he has to go through, when his brothers, they decide, right, to take him, the intention was to kill him first, and then you put him in the well. And then the people pick him up, and then he went to the house of Al-Aziz, the governor, and then he had problems, and he was put in prison, and all that story. But he looked at the end of it, and he said it was something beautiful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, He wanted, and it happens to me, and it happens to my brothers. But what it counts for him is the ending. And he forgave all his brothers. He said to them, as the Quran said, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. There's no harm to do. There's no harm today. I forgive you. I forgive you. And that's what happened. Going back to what I want to say, and yeah, I see those beautiful brothers over here also. Looks like our president, he did a good favor to the Muslims by issuing a certain order. Otherwise, I would not be able to see this kind of support, to see this kind of, I don't know how to describe it, because this is not my first time. 2 weeks ago, I went also in another masjid in Valley Stream in Manhattan, in Long Island. And subhanAllah, there was 10 rabbis from different areas of Long Island. All of them came with a huge big number from the Jewish community. They all said, I will tell you, they said it's around 100 people came for the Friday sermon. When they say 100 people, it's a big number. I know sometimes we have an event and we call the Muslims, they don't come with 100. It's a big number. What I'm trying to say, whatever it's happening, we always look at the good part of it. I had a little also talk today with certain brothers and sisters and say, don't you think it's time now to rethink about the way how we look at our neighbors, and the way how also our neighbors are looking at us, and the way how we see each other, and the way how we could work on the common ground that we may have between us and them? Don't you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has His own ways, which is none of us could expect, and none of us knows what is behind it? Definitely nobody knows. Let me go back again to the first part, which is I started with. I said, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to us, have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you should not be worried about anything. Put all your trust in Him, and definitely you should not be worried about anything. You know, Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob, when he lost Yusuf, and people, they were telling him a lot of stories, and he even lost his eyesight. And then many other things happened. Guess what he said? When he couldn't find any way, and any exit, and anything to do, he said, I put all my trust in God. وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I put all my concern, and I will put it on Him. Go back again, and I'm again going back to the question of faith. Every single person who has faith, he has a beautiful life. So what are you talking about? A beautiful life. Hold on. The more faith you have, the more your life is going to be easy. The less faith you have, the harder is going to be your life. All the time. The more faith you have more hope. And you're always counting on the one that is able to change any kind of situation. The less faith you have, you went through what? Sometimes depression. Sometimes people commit suicide because they don't see no way, no exit, no doors, no solutions. So whenever you have that in your heart, that is the prescription. That is the cure. That no one can give you, but it comes only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me move on again. And again, I'm sticking with the point about faith. Faith in God. That He is the one who is able to do whatever He wants the way He wanted. As our beautiful brothers over here, and I'm sure that they knew about it, but it's just a kind of reminder for myself and my brothers and my sisters. The beautiful story of Mary, Maryam, the mother of Jesus, alayhi salam, may peace be with him. When she got pregnant, she was by herself. And the angel came to her, and he spoke to her. And she said to him, who are you? He said, I am just the messenger of your God to give you a child. She said, how can I have a child? This is the version of the Quran, by the way. How can I have a child? I was never a bad woman, and no man ever touched me. He said to her, that's how your Lord wanted. And He will make him as an ayah, as a sign, as a miracle. That's how it ended up. Then she felt, after that, the feeling of a woman that she's pregnant. She said to herself, يَا لَيْتَنِي مِتُّ قَبْلَ هَذَا وَكُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًّا. If only I died a long time before this would happen, because what the people will be talking and saying about me. And she had no clue, no solution, nothing to be done. But the angel told her, don't worry about it. Don't be sad. Don't be worried. Not only that, He said to her, وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ, and you could just move the tree, and then the fruit will fall down on you. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنَا, eat and drink and come down. And whenever you see a person, say to him, don't talk to him, right? And that you are not talking to anybody. Make it short. Finally, she got the baby boy in her hand. And actually, as the Quran says, in the chapter, the chapter of Mary, she carried the baby and she went to her family. They look at the baby and actually they start questioning her and looking at her in a way that you cannot even imagine. Just a woman who lived in a certain time, in a certain country, in a certain community, in a certain place. She's carrying a baby on her hand and everybody was looking at her in a certain way. Ya Maryam, oh Maryam, how did you get this? And the same thing happened to them. They say, you know what? ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغية. They told her, your father was a good man and your mother was not a bad woman. Looks like, how can you be like this? Your father was a great man and your mom also, definitely. So how you come in with a baby? None of us know the father of that baby. How did he do something like this? And all what Maryam did, all what Mary did, she just pointed to the child, to the baby, to the new baby born. Probably it was a couple of hours, more or less. She pointed to him, and they looked at her and said to her, كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا? You want us to speak to the baby? He is just born. And the baby spoke. And he talked. And right away he said, قال إني عبد الله آتاني. He said, I am the servant of God. He spoke on that. Was Maryam expecting something like that? Was Mary expecting that something would happen like that? Nobody was expecting. It is the miracle of God. It is the miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is able to do whatever He wants, the way He wants, anytime He wants. You just have to have faith. There is nothing called impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing called that, you know what, you are being limited because of the time and the circumstances and the place. No, it's not. When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know very well that He's able to do whatever He wants, the way He wants, anytime He wants, and there is no limitation. You know, subhanAllah, to bring these people together, the Muslims and the people of the book, and bring them to a certain place in America, in New York City, in Manhattan, in a certain place, who's expecting that to happen? But it happened, subhanAllah. Out of what? Out of something that the Muslims, all of them, they were very concerned. And some of them, they were afraid. And some of them, they were worried. And some of them, I don't know what they are thinking about. But I'm going back to the first point. And I said, again, whenever you have faith in Allah, the more faith you have, the more your heart is going to be comfortable. The less faith you have, you are going to lose control of anything. Just have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, it's a beautiful day again, just to introduce ourselves to the brothers over here, and a reminder for all of us about, again, what is the duty of every single Muslim here in America. How he's supposed to present himself. I said to yourself, to you and to myself and to all the brothers and sisters, remember, every single person among us, whoever claimed that he is a Muslim, you are the representative of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are representing that man. Because when you say, I believe in Allah and I believe that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of God, meaning I am following the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you act, that's how the people look at you. They said that you are actually acting according to your teaching. And today, we'd like to go for a few minutes regarding his teaching. One of the very famous things that he said, which is all of us, we have to be aware of. He said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثُّ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. He was asked about what is the purpose of his mission. He said clearly, indeed I was sent to complete the best of the characters. Indeed I was sent for a reason. The reason that whatever good characters, I was sent to present that and to complete that and to perfect that. So when you look at his life, again, he was just a walking Quran. That all his practice, it was to perfect this good of the characters. Very quick, we'll say, how did he deal with the man, with the women, with the children, with the Muslims, with the non-Muslims? And we'll go very quick with that also. First one, we'll say, well, how did he deal with the man? Probably I mentioned that before. And I said how easygoing he was. All of us will remember that Bedouin, and the Bedouins sometimes they are very tough. Right? They don't have that much philosophy and knowledge that you guys may have. So this Bedouin who came to the mosque, you know what? And actually he felt like, he needs to use the bathroom. Azakumullah. So what he did, he went to a side of the corner of the mosque and he started urinating over there. And the people got so upset and disappointed with him. They don't know what to do, and some they want to cursing him, pushing him. And the Prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him, so he came and said, hold on, take it easy, don't even disturb him. Really, don't even disturb him? And look how much wisdom in there. Number one, he said he is a person who doesn't know. Number two, if you try to push him, you know what he's going to do? He's going to mess up the whole area. So let him finish it. And after he finished, he went to that person and he said, indeed this place, it's only for reading Quran, for doing the prayer, and for anything which is related to the religion. This is not the place for this. Oh, okay, I understand. And the story finished. No problem. And actually he joined them for the prayer, and after he finished, subhanAllah, that person again, when he was making his supplication and his dua, he said, oh God, forgive me and forgive Muhammad, and don't forgive anybody else with us. He got disappointed. So again the Prophet came and he said, you know what, something which is so big and wide, we make it so narrow. Ask forgiveness for everyone. That's his action with a person, subhanAllah, that didn't have knowledge. What about children? And he also teach the people the right of every single person. I know time wouldn't help that much, but I'll go a little bit faster. One time he was sitting, and somebody brought some kind of milk to the people, right? And you know what? As in our etiquettes, in our faiths, if you want to drink, you won't share it, you're supposed to start from the right side, not from the left side. So when he wanted about to share that milk, and he would not start from himself, he found out that the first person on his right side was a young boy. So he told him, you know what, would you like to be the first person, or you would like to give that privilege to one of your father, your uncle, somebody else? The little child, he was thinking about saying, you know what, I want to have that honor, would be the first one to drink from your hands, O Prophet. And the Prophet, peace be on him, he said, that's his right, I cannot deny it. And he gave it to the little child, to tell the people that we have to recognize the right of every single individual. It could be man or woman, or a child or an adult, subhanAllah. Moving on, subhanAllah. Talking even, and especially the talk, it's about the women a lot more than anything else, especially when it comes to the Islam, subhanAllah. And these stories are so many that you cannot even imagine. Especially when you are born and raised in a certain culture. In one of the prophets' battles, he took one of his wife with him. It was the youngest one, Aisha. So when he took her, she was very young and very worried. Guess what? He took her on the side and he said to her, Aisha, let's have a race. What are you talking about? So yeah, let's have a race. And then he told the army, stay there, he took his wife, and they went and they started a race. I'm sure that most of the brothers over here, if his wife told him, let's go for the race, what he would say? What are you talking about? Are you out of your mind? Me, I'm going to race in the street and you want people to look at us? What kind of... Right, that they would say. We would say, but you know what? Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did it. Are you going to criticize that? Yeah, he said to her, let's have a race. And she did. And guess what? When the race happened, she won. She came first. Aisha radiallahu anha, she narrated the story. She said, I won. Probably he let her win, I'm not sure. But she said, I had a race with him again a couple of years later on, but he won. And then guess what she said, commented on that, she said, because I gained some weight after, that's why he won. Anyway, you know, this Aisha, in this issue, subhanAllah, not only that, when they were coming back, just few hundred miles away from Mecca, she lost her necklace. We're talking now about the beautiful love story, which is a lot of people don't comprehend. I'm serious. You know what? She said, I lost my necklace. And imagine people are coming from a battle, everybody's exhausted, tired, and then the wife is telling the husband, I lost my necklace, so what can we do? The nicest person among us, what you will say? The nicest person, what you will say? You say, you know what, I'll buy you 10 necklaces, but just let's go there. I cannot say this in front of everybody. But guess what he did? It's okay, take it easy. And then he appointed few people, say, I want you to look for the necklace of Aisha. And they keep looking for it. And some people got upset, and some people got disappointed. But he wanted actually to please his wife and make her feel comfortable. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but this is again what happened between a man and a woman, a wife and husband. Aisha also narrated the story, and she said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بساما ضحاكا وكان يخيط ثوبه ويحلب شاته. She said Rasulullah was always having a smile on his face. With all the difficulties and the burden and whatever the busy schedule that he has to rebuild and to build a new community, society, whenever he comes home, he put everything behind him and he will have a beautiful smile on his face. Because he knows about the right of every single individual. This is the right of my home, so I'm going to come with a smile. And I will joke. I wonder how many of us will do that. Of course, whenever we come, we bring all the problems with us to our homes. You have problems with your business, with your boss, with your employees, with the subway, with whatever. You bring it home and you are given a face, subhanAllah. And you think that you did so much, and this is the time that everyone has to be quiet and listen to you. That was not what our Prophet was teaching us. And if you're acting differently, you are not giving the right message about him. Definitely, you are not giving a message about him. I stop over here. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all of us. Wastaghfirullah lakum jami'an mu'min. الحمد لله وحده ولا يدوم إلا ملكه والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه. Dear brothers and sisters, this is a golden opportunity for all of us in this specific time, in this specific place, in the greatest country in the world, as all of us we know. And a lot of people, they try in different places and they realize that in this place there is a lot of things that you could do, things that you cannot achieve in many places. You could still achieve it in this country. And that's why a lot of people, they are over here. We say America, the country of dreams. And a lot of people came over here because they realize that there's a lot of opportunities. Even when it comes to faith, practicing it the way you want, still you have the freedom to do so. Historically, a lot of people migrated from different places just here to America. When we look at the Statue of Liberty, we see that also. And if some of you, they go and see what is written over there, they will understand that also. Going back again. And we're saying, we are living in this beautiful country. And we will stay in this beautiful country. Do you know why? Because we love it. Do you know why? Because we don't have any other place but only this country. Do you know why? Because our kids were born and raised over here. Because our kids also, do you know why? When you take them sometimes for vacation to the place where you were born, they are not able to adjust themselves over there. Your kids definitely, they like basketball more than they like crickets. Your kids definitely, they like the hamburger more than they like some other type of food. Your kids definitely, they like a lot of things, which is they adjust themselves over here in this country. And I am sure again, completely sure, that this is the place where you could practice your faith in the proper way, in a free way. Whatever it's happening are just clouds. And always there are clouds. They are winter time and they are summertime. And then you keep going back and forth. There's no time that there will be only summer, because you're not going to be able to resist that. That's why you're not even in Alaska right now. And it will be very difficult for you to move over there. Though, remember, this is what we call life. This is not heaven. In heaven, we are being promised that you're not going to have no problems, no hardship. But differently in life, it's a place where you're going to be what? Being in trial. You're going to suffer a lot. And people before us and better than all of us, all of them, they had to go through trials. All of us, we read the Quran and we see the stories of the Prophet and messengers, and we see how Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, what he had to go through for centuries and centuries. And we learn also about Prophet Abraham and what he had to go through. And we learn about Prophet Moses and what he had to go through. And we know about so many prophets and messengers, and all of them, they did not have an easy life. None of them actually will realize that the more faith you have, the more actually trials you're going to be facing, but the more reward that you will be having. Anyone in any situation, the more responsible you are, the more difficulty that you have to go through. There's no easy life. You know where the easy life is? The way how we look at it? That's only when you go in your grave and you sleep over there. Nobody will bother you. Sometimes people will come and bother you there too. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all of us. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Lahu al-mulku wa lahu al-hamd, yuhyi wa yumeet. وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وإليه المصير وعلى كل شيء قدير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر لموتانا وموتى جميع المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى جميع المسلمين. اشفهم وعافهم واعف عنهم يا ارحم الراحمين. واقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي.
Now let's move to your right and straighten up the lines.